The Young and the Restless spoilers. Chance Chancellor stood at the doorway of Daniel Romalotti's home, a search warrant in hand. The tension in the air was thick enough to cut through, and Daniel's heart sank as he saw the official document. His mouth went dry. He knew what it meant. There was no more time for explanations, no more chances to prove his innocence with words. The law was here, and it wasn't leaving until it had answers. "I'm sorry, Daniel," Chance said, his tone serious but not without a hint of regret. "But I have a warrant to search your home." Daniel swallowed hard, his mind racing. He had nothing to hide, and yet the gnawing fear in his gut told him this search wasn't going to go his way. Still, there was no way to refuse. With a small reluctant nod, Daniel stepped aside, allowing Chance and his team into the house. The search was thorough. Every corner, every drawer, every hidden space was scoured as if they were hunting for something that had been perfectly placed, waiting to be found. Daniel stood helpless, watching as his home was torn apart. His mind kept running through every possible scenario. How could this happen? He had nothing to do with Heather's murder, and yet here he was, under suspicion, with the weight of the law crashing down on him. As Chance moved through the living room, his eyes fell upon a small cabinet in the corner. He approached it with purpose, as though something had guided him there. Daniel felt his stomach drop. He had no idea what was in that cabinet, but the way Chance moved made him uneasy. Chance opened the door, his hand reaching inside, and pulled out two items that instantly changed the course of the investigation. First, a blood-stained handkerchief, crumpled and hidden beneath some old books. And second, Heather's phone, still charged, though it had been switched to airplane mode. It had been sitting there, in Daniel's home, like a damning piece of evidence waiting to be uncovered. Daniel's eyes widened in shock. His pulse quickened. What is that?" he stammered, stepping closer, disbelief evident in his voice. "I don't know how those got there, Chance. I swear I've never seen those things before in my life." Chance held up the phone, his brow furrowing. "Heather's phone?" he said quietly, almost as if speaking to himself. "It still has battery. Looks like it's been charged recently." Daniel's heart pounded in his chest. "I don't even know how that got here," he said, his voice rising with desperation. "Why would I have Heather's phone? Why would I keep a bloody handkerchief in my house? This is insane." But the evidence spoke volumes, more than Daniel's frantic words could. The bloodied handkerchief was all too real. And the phone, Heather's phone, should have been with her or gone, not hidden in Daniel's house, just sitting there waiting to be found. Chance narrowed his eyes, but there was a flicker of doubt behind them. "I don't." Daniel shook his head, his frustration mounting. "Because I didn't kill her. I didn't even know these things were here. I've been set up, Chance. Someone's framing me, and you're playing right into their hands." Chance looked at the phone again. It didn't make sense for it to be here. The handkerchief, the phone, it all felt too easy, too perfectly planted. Who else could have had access to this place, Daniel? Daniel's mind raced. "Lucy," he muttered softly, almost afraid to say her name aloud. He felt his gut twist at the mere thought. Lucy, his daughter, troubled, battling demons far greater than any teenager should. Her struggle with alcohol had taken a toll on her mental state. She had become erratic, unpredictable. But could she really be involved in something like this? Chance caught the name and immediately locked eyes with Daniel. "Lucy?" he asked, his tone shifting. Daniel didn't want to believe it, but there was no denying the possibility. Lucy had been acting strangely ever since Heather's death. She had withdrawn, barely speaking, and when she did, her words were laced with confusion and anger. He had chalked it up to grief, but now he wasn't so sure. But no, there was no way Lucy could have done something like this. She may have been struggling, but she wasn't a killer. She wasn't capable of that kind of violence, was she? "Lucy's been going through a rough time," Daniel admitted, his voice tight. "But I swear to you she's not involved in this. She couldn't be." Chance crossed his arms, his face unreadable. "A rough time?" he asked. "Daniel, if Lucy's got something to do with this, we need to know." Daniel's mind was spinning, trying to piece together the fragments of his broken world. He had been so focused on clearing his own name that he hadn't considered the possibility that someone else close to him might be involved. But even now, with the evidence staring him in the face, He couldn't accept it. Lucy was his daughter. There was no way she could have done something so monstrous. But the evidence, the bloodied handkerchief, the phone, they weren't his. So whose were they? She's been struggling with alcohol, Daniel finally admitted, his voice low, almost ashamed. It's been hard on her. But this is too far, Chance. She wouldn't do this. Chance looked at him for a long moment, weighing his words carefully. Daniel, I've seen a lot of people do things they never thought they were capable of. Grief, addiction, mental health issues, they can push people to the edge. Daniel's fists clenched at his sides. So you think she killed Heather? Is that it? You think Lucy, my daughter, could do something like that? I'm not saying that, Chance said carefully. But right now we need to follow every lead. If Lucy's involved, we need to know. Daniel shook his head, frustration boiling over. She didn't do it, Chance. I know her. She's been through hell, but she's not a killer. Someone else...